Hi guys, welcome back. We're in the Archenemy tournament. It's game 5. Warriors of Chaos against Lizardmen, and unfortunately apologise again for the photos. The light in the room for this one really made things quite difficult. Everything very bright. I hope you can see vaguely what's going on. We've got a very tough game here where I'm up against essentially a Slan with the typical Law of Life, Focus of Rumination. He wasn't allowed to take Cupped Hands as well as those two upgrades, but he's still got quite a nasty list here. We've got 2 Stegodons, 2 units of Pterodons, 2 units of Saurus, plenty of Skinks, and quite critically, he's got a Old Blood on foot with the item that makes his unit stubborn. So that's actually quite a tough item in 8th, and we'll see why that's so nasty later on. I've deployed with all my infantry in the centre, all of my infantry in the centre, and the knights on the hill and to the right. Looking at the next photo, here's his deployment. He's got his Stegodons in the middle, giving him an opportunity to just pick out the targets he wants to and go for it. His Slan isn't in a unit of Temple Guard, it's just attached to the unit of Skinks at the moment, and that's the way to go these days. In 8th edition, you don't really need Temple Guard because your units are pretty much immune to psychology and stubborn anyway, just due to the steadfast rules and the easy to pass leadership tests that you've got with rerolls and everything. So Temple Guard are a thing of the past. Saurus are the new Temple Guard, and that's typically the way things are going. The other thing about Temple Guard is you can't really get them the parry save, whereas with Saurus you can give them hand weapons and shields. His models actually have spears on them. Just remember throughout this game that he's got hand weapons and shields equipped for his Saurus warriors. Next photo, he's actually swung around over here and after his Vanguard move has flipped over and bombed these poor old Warhounds with drop rock attacks, and that has pretty hurt them fairly badly. Not too worried about that for now, but these Pterodons are going to be really annoying throughout the game. Hopefully I can shoot them down with a bit of Chain Lightning or Uranon Thunderbolt, but that takes a lot of effort from the Sorcerer, plus he has to turn around to see them. Next photo, he's moved into the forest in the middle with some Skinks, moved forward with his Salamanders, going for the Knights based on his quite high armor-piercing ability from the Salamanders. I think it's like Strength 5 with armor-piercing, so quite a difficult one for the Knights to deal with, although in his first round he only managed to kill, I think, 1 or 2 Knights, so I wasn't really too fazed by that. Moving forward with his Stegodons as well. Next photo, trying to get some spells off here with Law of Life. He actually does buff up a couple of units, but nothing too significant. And if you go into the next photo, this is my turn 1, and things develop fairly well. I mean, I charged the first Stegodon with my big unit of Marauders, and that'll keep his Stegodon stuck. And what I wanted to avoid here was having his Stegodons fight against my Chaos Warriors, because they're really the most vulnerable. Ideally, I wanted my Chaos Knights involved with the Stegodons, but if I just tie up the Stegodons with the big unit, I figure that I can actually start grinding down his Saurus Warriors with my Chaos Knights, Frenzy and all, and characters in the units as well. Chosen are looking good with +1 attack, but they need to get into combat as well. And over on the left-hand side, I've got my Chaos Warriors having rolled fairly high for the charge range into the Skinks, ready to destroy the Skinks and attack the Saurus Warriors are behind that. Next photo, a bit of a zoom in. What happens here is that the Marauders don't take too much damage from the Stegodon. Unfortunately, not able to inflict much damage back because the Stegodon has a couple of Law of Life spells on it at the moment. I think the toughness buff, as well as the one that inflicts the Shield of Thorns that inflicts damage to my unit. Of course, the Chaos Warriors, frenzied as they are with Hellbirds, killing the what do we call it, the Skinks, and overrunning successfully into the Saurus Warriors behind them. Next photo, what happens here is that I get some pretty good dice rolls off, manage to clear out all of the Skinks in the forest, and charge his unit of Saurus with both my Chosen and my unit of Chaos Knights. So let's have a good look at this photo. I've actually got all of my important combat units into combat. My combat units are more powerful than his combat units are. He's got 2 Stegodons against my Marauders, but even with Thunderstorm, it's going to take him a long time to actually get rid of them, and I've got both of my General and my BSB within range of that unit for rerollable Leadership 9 Steadfast checks. I'm actually grinding down his Stegodons wound after wound. In the top left of the photo, I've got a unit of Frenzied Halberdiers, Chaos Warrior Halberdiers against some Saurus Warriors. But this is 8th edition and not 7th edition, and I've got to explain how bad a position I'm actually in. And yes, it is actually a bad position, because there's a Slan back there casting Law of Life spells left and right, making units +2 toughness, and really causing a lot of problems here. His units are just not going to run away, and at the end of the day, with Law of Life bringing units back, I'm actually completely screwed here. And it's a really weird thing. I mean, this hit me halfway through the game. I've probably gotten the most effective combat army of the tournament in terms of pure damage output with number of attacks, strength, and weapon skill. But even though I got all of my units in combat, all of my characters into combat, I'm really pretty much screwed here because the Stegodons are not going to die because they get a wound back every time the Slann casts a spell. My Marauders are dying very quickly due to the Thunderstomp and the high strength attacks from the Stegodons. At the top left is Saurus Warriors because the Steadfast with the Slann nearby with three dice for leadership are not going to run away. And every time he gets a Law of Life spell off on them, the Chaos Warriors are not going to cut it. With just Hellbirds, their 4+ armor save isn't going to cut it against the Strength 4 Saurus. And the big fight with three of my combat characters, Chaos Lord and 2 Exalteds, all armed with stuff which gives them +2 strength. Are killing the Saurus Warriors, but he's healing them with regrowth, and the Saurus Warriors are never running away because that stubborn item in the unit is keeping them there. And of course I have to challenge, so only one character at a time can fight his old blood with a stubborn item. So I thought, what could I have done? I mean, if we'd restarted this game, how could I have played differently to actually beat his list? And I couldn't really think of very much. I think the only mistake that I've made so far really is with my Chaos Lord. I probably should have got my Chaos Lord into combat, into the challenge with his Old Blood instead of my BSB with a Flail. But that's about it. I mean, he's still going to survive a few turns with the Old Blood, and that Slann just wreaks havoc. So really quite disgusted with this little situation I'm in. Next photo is Pterodons moving around. You can see my Marauders are nearly destroyed by Stegodons in the background. I'm just removing models down to about 3 guys left, with Halberdiers at the top left, and the Pterodons just mopping up all my loose units of Hounds. In the next photo, what you see here is both Stegodons have destroyed all of the Marauders finally. My Chaos Warriors in the top left have been ruined. I've only got two guys left for the Chosen, but it's coming right down to the wire because I've had many turns to grind down his Saurus unit. He's down to about 3 left plus the 2 characters. And basically, we got told by the tournament organizer at this point to finish the game up because we'd taken so long to get this point. Sorry guys, I didn't take too many photos, but what happened here is there was a critical turn where I issued a challenge. He declined and then moved his Old Blood to the back, and then we thought, hang on, that wasn't right, go back. It's actually me that allows to choose which of his guys goes to the back. So I picked his BSB to go to the back, and then I killed his Old Blood in close combat. BSB ended up in the front at the end of the combat. I had a character with a great weapon that could then attack him. Rules didn't say that I couldn't. So I actually wiped out everything in that unit, got some reforms, and if you go to the next photo, I could use the final turn allowed by the tournament. It was turn 5, we should have had a turn 6, but it was still turn 5, to charge around and mop up some of his units, such as his other Stegodon and whatever other skinks were remaining. But I lost this game 12 points to 8. It was looking like it was going to be a complete massacre whitewash, 20 points to 0 in favour of him. But, I had a bit of luck towards the end, but I was really just surprised that it wasn't a win to me based on the position of it, because really looking at the board, you would have thought, man, I'm in a great position. But due to the toughness of this army, just the extreme resistance of this army to any sort of bad situation involving combat, I just couldn't do a thing. So I was just really overwhelmed by the inherent unfairness of it. That's my view of it. Maybe you guys disagree, but Lizardmen, very tough in 8th edition, especially with the particular combination of things that were present in this game. Hope you guys enjoyed this little rant, this little talk about it, but again, still at the top of the tables because I've only had 2 very minor losses coming into the final round. We'll see that shortly.